This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
Goodness gracious, oh my brother, testify. WWE just cooked up one of the strongest, the fastest, the toughest, the roughest, the greatest, the best EST weeks of television that they have ever produced. The MVP of WrestleMania 40, Seth Freakin Rollins, tapped into those John Cena mutant healing factors and made a shocking return from injury. Otis and the Alpha Academy finally stuck up for themselves and dumped Chad Gable, which made him the perfect target for the Wyatt Sick6 massacre. What a hell of a statement to make on your first night. Drew McIntyre quit only to pull a Uno reverse revenge card 4 days later on CM Punk. A TNA wrestler appearing on NXT made for the most viewed WWE social media post on Twitter. I think it's safe to say that the WWE universe believes in Joe Hendry. The Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu made his long-awaited WWE debut, whooping all kinds of ass and putting everyone on notice. Given the new bloodline, bad bloodline, bloodline 2.0, bloodline Wolfpack, whatever you want to call them, the extra bit of oomph, legitimacy, and aura that they desperately needed. And mind you, this all happened within a week of Clash at the Castle, which would be considered a B pay-per-view. However, this is the most exciting and important that WWE TV has felt since the road to WrestleMania. Money in the Bank is right around the corner, and SummerSlam is just ahead on the horizon. The Post-WrestleMania Hangover is over. Hallelujah, glory be to God. We are so back, baby!
You think I'm here to play around with y'all? God damn it, I'm not.
I know the internet wrestling community is notorious for disagreeing with each other, but if we can be honest with ourselves, maybe this is something we can all agree on. We've been in a bit of a lull since WrestleMania. Up until this past week, it seems like all the storylines have been simmering on low heat. I'm not suggesting that the shows have been bad per se, but let's keep it a buck. It's been hard going from the high and pure ecstasy that was the road to WrestleMania 40 to this cool down period we've been in for the past 2 months. We had Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson returning to wrestle a proper match for the first time in over a decade. And due to the most brilliant creative pivot that the company has ever executed, Rock produced the best work of his entire career, dare I say, in acting and in wrestling, with The Final Boss, which in turn highly enhanced the existing program between the unbeatable, undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns, the man who held the title for nearly 4 years, and the undesirable challenger Cody Rhodes, who had clawed tooth and nail to become undeniable as a top star in the hearts of the entire WWE universe. A man who has made a career off betting on himself in the face of impossible odds. And then you add in the real life tension of how they got there and how remarkable the conclusion turned out to be. How in the world could you ever top that? Now that the story is finished, what are you gonna do to follow it all up? You have to start building new and compelling stories. But here's the kicker. You can't rely on Roman, Rock, and Cody right now. Roman's forever reign is over, and his schedule is pretty limited. That was the issue towards the end of his reign, and that's why he can't be the only A story going on right now. Rock ain't coming back until January when they move to Netflix. He's filming movies, and I'm pretty sure that he just injured his elbow on set. And even though you still have Cody, he's still fresh off of the greatest crowning achievement of his career. It's gonna be hard to rush into something new that feels as significant as that. So what are you gonna do? How are you gonna keep the fans' interest and excitement up and maintain the quality cinematic experience that we've all come to know and love? You give this Liv Morgan revenge tour some real legs and let Dominic Mysterio live out the fantasy of every mark in the world. Turn Chad Gable into the most head-ass, gaslighting sore loser who browbeats his pupils every week. find a way to respectfully honor and carry on the legacy of Bray Wyatt by allowing his brother to take the Uncle Howdy character to another level and exceed everyone's expectations with one of the dopest arrivals of a faction in company history. Skyrocket the Drew McIntyre and CM Punk feud into the stratosphere by having Punk screw Drew McIntyre in the main event of Clash at the Castle in his home country. Then have Drew run it back on Punk in his hometown of Chicago, leaving him a broken and bloody mess. And last but certainly not least, you have Paul Heyman be motherfucking Paul Heyman and get us emotionally invested in this hostile takeover mafia storyline that's going on with this new bloodline. And while Paul tries to desperately hang on to the fabric of what Roman would have wanted, Solo's going on a power trip, recruiting more dangerous, bad, scary family members. That's what you do. While WWE is not perfect or immune to criticism, this ain't the previous regime. I don't know if you heard this, but it is a new era. You know how those good home-cooked meals go. It might take all day to finish it, but once the food is done, it's gonna smack. And that's how it's gonna be in this renaissance that we know as the new Paul Triple H Levesque era. It's all about long-term booking, layered storytelling, and letting the shit cook a little bit longer. There ain't no rushing when it comes to Triple H's booking. Just look at this past week as an example. It took a couple of months to build it up, but once it hit, it hit. I know we're gonna be eating good for the rest of the summer and leading into the fall. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I'm hyped for SummerSlam now. It's obvious we're gonna get the first match between Drew and CM Punk. Nia won the Queen of the Ring, so she's gonna get her shot at Bayley. But there is some uncertainty with the rest of the card. Is Gunther gonna be the one opponent where Priest luck just runs out? Or is Rollins gonna win his title back at Money in the Bank and give us an all-time classic against the Ring General? Will Rhea be healthy enough to make her comeback in time for SummerSlam? You would hope so, because I don't think poor Dom Dom is gonna be able to resist Liv for much longer. Personally, I think it's a bit too soon to run Jade versus Bianca at SummerSlam. I think that's a match best served for the bright lights in Las Vegas. But they did lose the tag titles, and Bianca did seem a bit dismissive when Jade was talking about getting their rematch. So we'll see. I think let's let them win the tag titles back and then stretch this build and the turn for Mania. And then there's Cody, where I'm really a bit torn on. If you believe Uncle Dave and some of the other rumors that are out there, we're getting Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam. Just a week ago, I thought for sure that Solo would be challenging Cody at Money in the Bank. That way, we get both Cody versus Randy and a returning Roman versus Solo as your two big SmackDown programs for the biggest party of the summer. Now, with Jacob Fatu's debut, I'm not sure at all. I do love that things feel a little bit unpredictable now. I guess the biggest question is whether or not they want Roman to make a surprise appearance at SummerSlam, or if they want to advertise him for a match there. Of course, I'm making all this speculation and fuss, and by Friday we'll figure out what the direction is anyways. But it's fun to speculate because the implications of what happens for Roman at SummerSlam will directly play into what he could be doing at WrestleMania. And if the direction is still Cody versus Rock at Mania, what in the world is Roman gonna do at Mania? But we could table that discussion for another video. There is a lot to love in the WWE right now and the entire industry as a whole. I feel like I've said this for every video, but it's the God's honest truth. What a time it is to be a wrestling fan. If you tuned out after Mania, now's the time to lock back in. Our faves are coming back from injury, new stars are being made right in front of our eyes, and the stories are getting as hot as the temperatures outside. Figuratively and literally. But I've yapped long enough and I'm ready to hear what you guys think. What are you most excited about in WWE right now? And what does your early SummerSlam card look like? Don't be shy, go ahead and sound off in those comments below. I can't wait to chat it up like we usually do. As always, thank you all for the tremendous support. Been working on a special project for you guys over the past couple of months, and I think you're gonna like it. So please stay tuned. Until next time, this has been Brandon from EK Wrestling. I love you all. Always remember that wrestling is not a love story. It's much more than that. It's hope. And in a world surrounded by hate, greed, and violence, a world where closure may never come, we all know a place that has hot and cold hope on tap, for better or for worse. Take care, guys.